back down, which is why we're late, because Blue Origin was supposed to launch them 2 hours ago, and I would have been fine, but they didn't. And so there's that. Anyway, Pepper's here. Hi, Pepper.
Hi, I'm coming from my new office.
Look at your new office. Look, between you and I, we have completely renovated our offices. I mean, I'm in the same room, but like,
well, I'm in a different.
You're house. In a completely different city. You're not even in the same city anymore.
Yeah,
this is so exciting.
Like before, you were like north of me. Now I'm north of you.
Yes, which means that now when it snows, you're going to be under 3 feet of snow when I'm under 1 foot of snow. That's how this works.
I'm lower altitude.
Yeah, but the snow always comes from the north. I mean, it doesn't always come from the north, but you always hear about how Loveland and Longmont and all of those guys get nailed hard, and we've got like a dusting down here, and we're like, what the heck's going on? So
yeah, we got rain last night. We got thunderstorms too.
I was driving in that. That was really weird.
Yeah, like it was a very odd sensation because I was like, hey, Bill, we're definitely at lower altitude. And he's like, why? And I was like, I hear thunder.
Yes. Well, and we were getting thunder sleet was what we were getting.
Yeah. And like so it started out as like snow turned to sleet, and then it became full on rain here.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to someone who lives in Thornton, and they were like, yeah, we got snow. And I'm like, oh God, where we're at, it turned into rain. Like,
yeah, we got sleet.
Yeah.
And I was driving in it, and you could tell because it was like, and then all of a sudden it was like that, and I was like, whoa, and Kai was in the back seat, and he's like, is that hail? And I'm like, no, it's not hail, that's sleet. And he goes,
hail sounds much different.
And he was like, well, maybe that's worse. And I was like, no. I mean, it's worse on the roads because it's just going to be ice.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I've got a client job to do today, which is what we're going to roll out.
Oh.
So I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm just going to switch to work mode too. We can keep talking.
Oh, no, it's fine. I honestly, I had one thing to finish up from something else before I signed up for something before the move, thinking, oh, I can get this done before the move, and yeah, that didn't work out as much. But like, yeah, the moving process has been literally a process.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a process. Yeah.
I'm having fun with that. I don't know what my problem is. Okay. Moving process sucks all the time. That's never a stop.
Yeah, and now I can just shut the door. Everyone needs to know this because now I can just shut the door, and if we want messages from Bill actually has to open the door now.
But he can, and he should.
Yeah, there's no lock on the door. Don't worry. I haven't locked it out.
It would just be sad. It would be like all sad. Okay, I want this to be 600 dpi. And we're going to unlink it. I'm going to make it 5100 by 5100. We're going to make it square. I'm making a logo. So when you make a logo and you do it the way I do it, which is,
you want to be hip to be square?
Yep. Traditionally, I do traditional logos here because I, hate stupid stuff. So anyway, I'm going to take a look at, there you go. Cool. We'll start with a circle. So I do business identities every so often. This is a friend of mine who is a life coach, and she needs a logo. So one of the things I do like to do, though, is offset circles because it looks more designy when you do stuff like that. So like this looks kind of cool. So we'll do that. I don't know if she's going to be here or not. I told her that we'd be working on her stuff this morning, so we'll see whether she's here. So next thing's next. I'm going to go look up a hummingbird because she's got a hummingbird. So it's good to have you on the show again today. Hummingbirds have like scales.
Well, I've drawn hummingbirds before, realistically and cartoonized, and yeah, I'll agree. The feathers do kind of look like little tiny scales,
right?
I think you could probably get away with, that trick that you do with snakes, where you draw the lines.
Oh yeah, I actually am going to just draw a silhouette, so I'm not even going to mess with that. So, but I'm going to go to blue here, and we're just going to kind of get an idea of, that's not blue. You'd think that would be blue. Because I'm in the wrong program again. We got kind of a pointed head like so, a long beak, kind of a secondary bird body thing.
Bird body?
Bird body.
Bird body?
Who are you calling bird body?
I'm just going to sit here and review.
All right.
Let's see how this logo looks. I think the neck's too long. The beak doesn't look like it's long enough.
Yeah, you're probably right. Actually, as much as you're like making snarky comments, the truth is, I think you may be right. So that's cool. The best part about this is this, right? That's why I do it this way. Because I'm noticing I also don't have room for this wing. It's going to go off like so. So like so. And then we'll take the aforementioned neck and make it shorter. And more like so. That looks better. Less duck-like. Right? And it's just going to be a silhouette, so I don't have to be perfect on this yet. Vultures are the coolest birds. They are, Ghost Hand. I totally agree. Scary, but cool, you know? There we go. Sort of like that. Get that tail kind of going. Now the tail's too long. That's okay. Like I said, my blue lines are rough for a reason. So I don't have to mess with it. So I don't have to stress out, because otherwise I will totally stress out if I think too hard on these things. I'll be like, I can't do it because it's stupid and I don't know. So, okay. So we'll add a new layer. This one will be black, and this time I will go in and I will guess I don't need to go in there like that, because this is going to be like this. As we were just...
I'm not ignoring him. I swear. I have like stuff going on my phone real quick.
Yep. Hey, Ghost Hand, check it out. This is Pepper's new office. Isn't it cool?
Hold on. That's good. That's my art desk right there.
Let's say you got to give us a tour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't exactly pick up my computer.
It's all right.
It's like
give as much of a tour as you can.
Yeah. So, and that right there is where all of my pigments and stuff are for paint making. clearly you're on my actual like desk for my computer. Um, Behind me is a bookshelf. That's a wall. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can open this from here. So I have an additional storage space. Oh, and I think, Guy, you may actually get a kick out of this. So I like using aprons at times for doing
Yep.
artwork.
So you have an apron storage.
Yeah. But do you recognize this pattern?
I do. Looks very Romulan.
Well, no, it's actually the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, I did not recognize that. It looks like a Romulan pattern to me.
Yeah. So you know when my mother-in-law was here with family friend helping us with the move, we went to the Stanley Hotel, surprising the family friend, and I picked this up. It has a pocket.
Nice.
This is, if you watch The Shining, this is the carpet
The carpet, yeah.
that was in The Shining. Yeah.
I generally don't watch a lot of horror because they can't seem to get away. They can't do horror without jump scares, and I hate being jump scared. So
Well, I mean, you can do horror without jump scares.
they don't seem to want to. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they don't do it, or I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying that generally speaking, in my experience, nobody seems to want to do it. In fact, they did the like top 10 scariest movies, and one of the ranking things was how good are the jump scares? And I was like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
that's why I don't watch them. You expect jump scares, and I hate to be startled, and it doesn't make me feel good. And so I'm like, no, screw it. It's not worth it.
Oh, by the way, folks, I also have a window that lets in natural light.
Yes. I'm actually much closer now to my big glass doors here, which has caused a problem because I can't balance and control the light coming in from out there, obviously.
Yeah. So according to our adoption agency, we actually have to bring this current. So I am in a basement, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm in the basement still. The only thing different is the window is much bigger, but our adoption agency wants it to be bigger.
Is
So
this the room that the kid's going to be in?
no. Oh, no. They just want, like, if me and the kid, or me, Bill, and the kid, or all of us are down here and a fire outbreaks, basically we have an egress window that we can all like file out of.
So
right now it's just too high.
The code, the fire code of houses changed because like all of my basement windows are not up to code either. We're going to have to literally drill through the concrete to make those things egress windows to make them code. And so we can't finish the basement of our house until we do that.
Yeah,
Right.
the basement for us, luckily, was finished back in the early 80s.
Right.
So that means that we have old egress windows. The house was built in 1972.
But what I'm trying to kind of get at is I'm amazed and shocked and impressed that the adoption agency is going to require you to bring your basement up to code, fire code, before you can adopt a child.
No. They're going to allow us to adopt. They know it's actually a money thing. They're going to allow us to adopt a child, but they said eventually we will need to move it.
I just, yet again, nobody stopped me from having a kid. We don't have egress windows, you know.
I just want to point out.
This is not a knocking the adoption agency. This is a, why don't we have an adoption agency for everybody who has kids?
Well, it's kind of like, okay, so let me like, there's a comedian that kind of like did it perfectly, because they adopted, and they said, obviously this was in guise of a joke, but it is a very frustrating part of the adoption process where we have we get like all these things told to us that we have to get done, but then we actually have priorities.
Right.
Like one priority was to get new fire detectors up in
Mm-hmm.
the house, so we have
But every house should have those anyway.
right, but we have to have 2 on every floor because we have the basement and we have the upstairs.
I'm just agreeing with Ghost Hand, who's saying that creating a license to be a parent would be an unironically good thing. Absolutely.
I mean, and I did
Some
have
folks are
to.
not qualified.
I did talk, but like again, like it. There are things about this that I kind of wish that other people would do. But I mean, I've talked to my own mother, and I was like, I don't even think that you and Dad could have actually had children if they required you to do this process.
Yeah, well, and we wouldn't have
you
been
know,
able to, I mean, if we'd gone through what you've been going through, we wouldn't have been able to have a kid until now, even though we wouldn't have wanted to. But that's not a, that's definitely something that I would have wanted to do. You know, it's,
yeah. But I also want to point out, me and Bill are kind of one of the younger couples in the
yep,
adoption pool right now. Right.
right. I need
Um,
to do this
the
one.
fact that
Read
the
it.
fact that that says, and then like someone, and then I mean, I went on kind of like on this tirade. I got on this soapbox a little because I kept getting tired of sick and like seeing these memes, and finally I just snapped and I was like, this is a good friend of mine. She posted, she'll understand if I make an ass of myself by saying this.
Kablam!
And so basically, I was like, I apologize at first, like, well, not apologize at first. I apologize like later to my friend in the post, but the meme was about basically like they compared having an abortion or something like that um to essentially like how dare you think a 16-year-old's doing this on purpose, blah 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 blah. And then they said, what if it, but like you have like a bunch of rules and regulations that don't allow 16-year-olds to even adopt. What if they wanted to? And I just basically was like, all right, you know what? You've gone way too far. This meme is not something that should be posted. This is very harmful. And in my mind, I was just like, I just went off. Like I couldn't deal with it at that point. And I basically was like, hey, you know what? Like in the post, I was like, this is what you're talking about is not actually about this. This is what this is what this new thing is about. This is what it's about, and it comes down to economics. Here's the deal: 16-year-olds going through an adoption process, won't be denied just because of their age. They have to economically be able to afford a child. You will actually get reviewed. Your finances get reviewed. You have to get through this step. If they see that you do not have the ability to support a child financially, they will deny you.
Yep.
That's number one.
That
Number
should be
two,
true of all of us.
number two, I don't know any 16-year-old that's willing to get in front of strangers and talk about their sex life. And yes, they go into that much detail of background check and how you function as a human being. If they are going into want details about like intimate details about your sex life, I don't know a 16-year-old that will do that to a stranger. End of discussion. They will deny you if they won't get information out of you. Like, have some forethought. Remember what 16-year-olds go through on a daily basis. Remember how they act. They're not fully formed adults. Please stop putting them in a position where they are. And I was just like, but it gets on my nerves, like literal nerves.
Like
and I
not
don't know.
figurative nerves,
Yeah,
literal nerves.
yeah, literal nerves. I'm sorry, I'm off my soapbox again. So,
You're definitely on a soapbox. I have no idea actually really legitimately what we're talking about, but that's okay.
yeah, it's fine. It's one of those things. It's just very frustrating. It's like I've gone through a couple of people who like I've literally had to correct someone, gently correct someone, thinking that they basically were telling me that I was saving a child by adopting them. And quite honestly, I don't view adoption as saving a child. I view adoption as getting a child to be a parent.
Right? You're not saving a child. Have
They're
they
like,
met
well,
you?
they could be a crackhead. I'm like, first of all, I don't know the circumstances of the adoption yet, and I won't know that until I meet the birth parents.
Well, like I said, have they met you? We may not be saving a child here.
I mean, you never know because the adoption, an adoptive mother situation, and I kind of guess this goes into like if you're trying to create a story and like you're looking for inspiration, like an adoption of a child is actually kind of something that can be very good for a story, or it can showcase a lot of different facets of human interactions, if that makes any sense for some people. um,
I think your soapbox is kind of losing, like,
I'm off the soapbox. I'm just talking story wise. Like if
I
someone wanted to make a story and then they wanted to do an adoption process within the storyline, like where the main character, say the main character never knew that they were adopted, or
okay,
the
the
main
main
character knew
character.
that they were adopted, but they never really cared, you know? Like,
You're like, are you mocking me? No.
I'm not mocking you.
No, I'm mocking you sort of, but that's okay. But it's with love. It's totally with love.
Huh?
So you said, say you have a character that blah 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 blah. So I went, okay, you have a character that blah 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 blah. I'm just, you said say it, so I
Oh, okay.
did.
All right.
But
Well,
you had already moved on to the next thing, and I said it's all right. I'm mocking you with love. It's all
yeah. Um,
good.
well, and I guess like what it boils down to is like, so like you're doing this and like I'm like looking at a screen where I kind of wanted to write today, but like clearly I'm not writing.
I don't know
Um,
how you would write on the show. I can't do that. So
I have tried several times. I've successfully done it only once on this show.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I could write.
Um,
This is okay.
yeah, it's one of those things of there comes a time and a place.
In a man's life,
Yeah,
you you're really on a kick, so it's all good. You
yeah,
continue on a
yeah.
kick.
That's is so. Ghost Hand, you bring up a very good, interesting point. In America, they police this
Yeah.
um,
Well,
in a
and they
very
should
big
be
way.
policing it. They're policing it probably in Brazil too. But there are, I mean, it's like everywhere.
Well, no, like I don't know if Brazil has cleaned up everything, but I do know that that is actually still a fear down there for
Yeah.
adopting children. Yeah, it's a sad part of the process, unfortunately. Like it's the
Well, yeah. What
reality.
do you? I mean, how we'll never really be sure. Are you giving a kid to a family who is going to hurt the child? You know, you can't really be sure. I mean, they can do the best that they can, but there's always sort of that thought. I'm sure.
Yeah, but and unfortunately, goes hand. We were shared information about world adopting.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people were adopting from China, we actually were thinking of adopting a girl from China at one point in time because they are often mistreated. And specifically in China, China for a long time there was preferring boys over girls. And
Hmm.
with their one child policy, they would have a second child, it'd be a girl, they'd give away the girl. So
Oh yeah, no, no. Oh, trust me.
for a while there, my wife and I were considering the idea of adopting a Chinese girl because we would have brought her over here and just raised her like normal, and all would have been
You
fine.
guys also would have had to live in China for 6 months.
Probably. That's not an
No,
issue.
not probably.
We lived in Japan for many years. China
Yeah,
wouldn't be any different for me.
yeah, no. I mean, like it's part of the Chinese adoption process. You have to
Mhm.
live in China for 6 months.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
wouldn't bother me.
yeah. I mean, but also overseas adoption for us is actually limited to specific countries. Like we can't adopt from every country.
Mhm.
Russia will not allow LGBT
Yep,
family members to do that.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yep.
the
Yeah,
communist.
that
Yeah,
was what I was saying. That shifted about the time that we actually had our real kid, biological
yeah.
kid, whatever you want to call it.
So they
About that
also
time, we
China.
realized that was, and now we have like 62 adopted kids that aren't really adopted, but like 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 my 16-year-old that comes over from Japan and just stays summers with us because she wants to.
Yeah,
And she's like my adopted kid now too. I just was talking to her dad 2 days ago, and she's apparently into Apex Legends now, and I'm like, okay, have you vetted that? Have you vetted that game?
I was about to say like I've seen that game. It's
Right? I'm like, okay. And turns out though, she's been socially awkward most of her life, and apparently this is good for her.
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So she's actually like
Oh,
growing up and
but
things like that.
but also at the same time, I would like to point out that Ghost Hand made a very giant point. China finally opened up to having 2 children in the household now,
Yep.
which
Because
is
they're
fun.
dropping their population. At
Well,
the rate that they're going now, China will have, like, I think they said half their population by 2020 or by 2050.
and then they also had the other problem where they have more elderly than they do young.
Yep, that's what's happening in Japan. That one, though, is a different story.
That is, and
Japan
you
is
know
a
what?
very different and complicated story.
That is a different story, and I won't disagree with that at all. I, you know what though? I will say both countries kind of created this environment.
Oh, they totally did. They
Yeah.
made their bet on this one. Well, okay, I can't speak to China, but
No,
to Japan, I
China.
will definitely speak to Japan on that one because, of course, everybody knows Japan is like my second home. Um, it's not
Yeah,
no time for babies. It's a culture whereby women were second class citizens. And so they have been slowly doing a passive aggressive uh, revolt since the 70s. And it's working
yeah,
because the point is they can take birth control. So they all do.
yeah,
Good luck having babies if all the women are taking birth control and refusing to have children because the culture wants to treat you like second class citizens. So the culture is being forced against its will to get over that, which is a good thing.
Well,
And
also, I mean, I would
like I
like to
said,
point
now
out.
that I'm speaking with love, this is definitely my beloved second home. So I'm not, I'm you know how you have to sometimes have the tough discussions. Sometimes you just got to have the tough discussions. Oh, hey, that looks cool, actually. I was going to delete that yellow, but that actually kind of looks nice.
Is that what they want though?
She was pretty okay. Well, I'm gonna show it to her and see if she likes it. She
Okay.
wants something bright and airy and nice using orange, yellow, and blue. So this is where we are on this. So we'll see. But I like the yellow, so I might keep that yellow and see what she says, because it wouldn't be hard for me to delete it if she doesn't like it. She's supposed to be on the show watching, in theory. So we'll see whether that works or not.
Okay. She can sit there and go, "Why are you complaining so much?" No, I'm just joking.
There we go. No, yeah.
But I will say some of the things that we've gotten for the new house are pure fun. We got a new dish rack. I don't think, if you told me when I was like 19, 20 years old that I was going to
You'd be all excited about a dish rack.
I think I would have looked at you with like cross-eyed, like are you serious?
This is how you you become an adult, though.
Yeah, like I got this new dish rack, and so it's one of these ones that goes over the sink. It's adjustable, so it kind of adjusts to different sink sizes. So we had to let it out just slightly. But essentially, you put all of your bowls and your plates and everything above it, and then you're supposed to put like utensils hanging on hooks from it. Like it stands probably like so. It's about yay tall
Yay!
over the sink, and I mean it's wonderful. Like I like it. Um, but now I'm going through and realizing like we had a lot of stuff that we just did not use.
Yeah.
Um, and I still haven't unpacked our kitchen fully yet. Like I still have I have like a whole wagon thing that I still need to unpack, and I have like another box I still have to unpack. But I've gotten we got the pantry done. I had to reline the pantry that was here at the house. I need to find a countertop that's 18 by 36, like supported, but then it has like a lip of like an inch on either side, on all sides. So it'll be like I need to find something for 40 by 20.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that point right now. Like I have a younger brother that's at the same point, Ghost Hand.
Yeah.
I have another younger brother that basically finds what you just said and what I say super adulting, and he's not even ready for that. But he just turned 18 this past year, so
Yep. It's time to take a break. Yesterday, I went to the chiropractor, and she cracked everything and popped everything, and I felt so good. And then last night, my back went thump and went back into place, and I was like, or went back into the previous place, and I was like, oh, I was so mad. I was like, I felt like I actually, after I got out of the chiropractor, I literally had to readjust all the mirrors in my car because she had changed like my posture and everything. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And I felt so good. And then it was like, oh. So anyway, chiropractors are cool. My grandfather
they are.
was a chiropractor. So, okay. Back to work. Adulting. Definitely not for the weak.
No, it is not for the weak at all. That's only if you want it to be. I found. Okay, So I'm like looking up countertops. I'm sorry, folks. I'm being a middle-aged man at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. You joined me. That's all that's really kind of critical at this point. I'm all excited you're here. Yeah.
All right.
A little bit of a light. Like a cream yellow. What I'm going to do here is just a little bit of a, there you go, just a little bit of a gradient to give some texture to this. Right.
Doesn't look bad.
No, I'm pretty pleased with this. Of course, I did graphic arts and graphic design for 20 years prior to being a comic artist. So graphic arts are actually something I can just do really quickly. And really, I'd be able to do this even quicker if I wasn't chatting with you, but I enjoy chatting with you much more. So I'm okay with the fact that it's going to take 2 hours to do this instead of one, and I get to chat with you. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good trade-off in my book. I'm good.
Hey, Donald.
Donald!
And yes, there are a few places around me that actually sells wood, and I was actually thinking about just going and getting a custom cut piece and having them do that for me because my beveling and Grommet thing, everything that I have right now is still packed. So, and I need a place to put pots and pans.
I
And
heard
I have it.
awesome pants, and that's even better.
I mean, I have okay, so I have like a space. I just don't like. There's a rack that I can use, but the rack needs like a topper.
So you're saying you have a space for awesome pants,
Yes, for awesome pants. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was totally what
Are
I
you
heard.
making Are
And I
you
was like,
making fun of my accent?
no, I'm making fun of my hearing, actually. Since apparently, as I grow older, I mishear all kinds of great stuff now. And that's much funnier. My mishearings are almost funnier than anything else. So, yeah, no.
Don't worry about it. It's like every single time I hear when I hear people say peanut
Yep.
or the plural of peanut.
Yep. Well, yeah, but that's just our inner 12-year-old. There's nothing we can do with that.
No, well, no, it's funny. It's funny when like you're sitting there and you're hearing like a former like a person that used to live in New York, and they're talking about the movie Peanuts, and so with their accent, it did not sound like Peanuts.
But I mean, like, legit, we, this is a thing we do. But yeah, no, my dad and I were making sort of this observation at one point that no matter which way you looked at it, as we grow older, it's a genetic problem that he and I both had, which was we just stopped being able to. It's what it is it's noise and chatter. Like the reason why I mishear you is because your microphone is a ground mic, and I can hear my brain can't distinguish your voice from the echoes of your voice off the walls. So I have a little interpreter in my brain that parses that. Yep, exactly. But I mean, it's not a problem.
I
Most
still have to hang
normal
them.
humans can do it. I apparently cannot. And there is
I
that.
still have to hang these. So
Yeah.
I mean, only if I knew a sound guy.
Yep, exactly. Well, there is some sound guy out there. There's no sound guy. All of us are pretty unsound now. There is no sound guy. Only Zool.
Oh my goodness! He wanted to fight you, Donald. What were you saying to make them laugh so hard?
Donald, stop picking fights.
I don't think he's picking fights. But clearly that marriage was on the rocks.
Yeah, that was one of the funny things I was thinking about. It's funny when you're in a long-term marriage because I have a buddy and she's suffering from the effects of COVID now, the after effects of COVID.
Yeah.
Um, he started yelling at his wife. But she has brain fog. She gets fatigued now. All of those things that come with what happens if you catch COVID.
Yeah.
And so the other night, she's also a Trekkie, and I go hang out with her all the time. And I was saying to my wife, I was like, well, I'll be back from her house relatively shortly because I don't think she's got a lot of stamina. And I realized what I said after I said it. And I'm like, I'm really lucky that my wife is like a good person and doesn't go there and thought process. And I'm like, but yeah, it's long-term relationships are great in that instance. It's like, she wouldn't have thought that. She didn't think that. I even said it. I said, boy, that didn't sound good, did it? And she's like, what? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Oh, that's why. Oh, I lost you.
oh,
Pepper.
hello, are you there?
No, Pepper. Okay, I'm done.
Ah,
You're back.
okay, sorry, I pulled the wrong cord.
That's what she said.
Well, I mean, I was born blue. The cord was wrapped around my neck, so
You're just saying.
yeah, yeah. Most people just say that explains a lot.
Not Geek Tank people. No, 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 no. This has to be an innuendo. There's no other way around it.
I will agree with Donald's comment though. You
Yes,
got to have trust and communication for a good relationship.
absolutely. There is if you don't have if you don't have that, then it's an uncomfortable place to be. All right.
So my
Geek Tank
mind
says
went
your
to my
mom.
inner 12-year-old right after.
Geek
Like,
Tank says your mom. Geek Tank also says that's what she said. It's just that we try to maintain our PG-13 rating, so we're allowed to only say it once a show.
oh,
It's like the F bomb. Chelsea's allowed to drop the F bomb once. And every time she does, she goes, "That's my one." And that's
you know
actually
what though? You know what you can do? Like you can make up the funnest alternatives to cursing.
Oh yeah, but
Like
if
I
you ever get Chelsea wound up, like she really has super opinions about like Ubisoft and like, things like that. So once you get her wound up, she sort of forgets that she's not supposed to say bad words. And so it's like, and like you could just see Troy and I going, well, but it's so funny because she's self-aware enough she'll say it and she'll go, that's my one.
well, I'm talking like
The best thing
like
ever.
like I hit my hand recently. I don't know if anyone can see it, but like it's not bruised or anything, but it was numb for like almost the rest of the day yesterday. And the first thing out of my mouth wasn't an F bomb, wasn't like it was like like I was talking like Cthulhu apparently.
Right. Tongues.
Yeah. So I guess I'm like mentally I'm preparing to be around a child and not cursing. And my family and probably most of my friends in my family are like, "Really? You're not cursing, huh?" Because technically I learned on how to curse from nuns. So
Last night I was with my drawing buddies, and my kid went with me.
yes.
And so he was like sitting there, and of course the guy next to me starts. It was really funny because he's been talking about something, and he uses all this bad language, but he stops and then changes the word. And I'm like, my 11-year-olds heard them all. I mean, it's not really a problem because he's heard them all. So
I mean, I want to say I probably heard most of the curse words, like the really bad ones, by the time I was like 4.
yep.
I would go on a job site with my dad, and apparently I had a habit of identifying the people on the job site for my dad and my grandfather
Right.
that would spend too much time in the bathroom. And I had some very colorful comments towards adults that did that.
I guess.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you're taking a 4-year-old child onto a construction site.
Right. I mean, my dad built houses, so I'm familiar.
Yeah, like, so you're gonna they're going to hear curse words. But what you don't realize is sometimes those kids are going to realize, hey, I can say this and get away with it if the person's in the bathroom.
Right.
Because I used to say, I think, was it, hey, bleep hole, get out of the bleeping bathroom and stop bleeping playing with yourself.
Right. Who does that at work? Oh my God.
I was 4 saying this.
I mean, do you just not have any time at home? What's going on? Why would you do that?
I don't know. And it was a construction site, and I'm talking about porta potties. Like,
Right?
who would want to do that
That's
in
not
a porta
exactly a
potty?
sexy place either. I mean,
Ugh.
who
Oh,
does
ugh.
this?
I
Oh,
mean, I've heard of tales of people doing that as like a young adult. I heard tales of people doing that stuff in porta potties, but me in general, I find that vile and sick.
yeah, right.
Like, so sorry, we went down a rabbit hole that probably none of you wanted to hear.
Yeah, a rabbit hole probably shouldn't have gone down.
Don't worry about it. Folks, this is coming off of the fact that last night I was in a complete debate about furry bait.
It was in New
with
York
some people.
construction site.
Actually, it was in Florida.
Well, I
And
think he's making a joke.
yeah, but I want to say all the people in Florida that my dad and my grandfather worked with, a lot of them were from New York.
New York. Yep.
I'm not joking. That is true. So that joke totally fits. Totally fits.
Yep.
That was a good joke. I may not have been laughing, but it's a good joke.
Yep. Just saying. Making a commentary on New Yorkers.
Teaching your fury to curse would be educational. I mean, it would. It would. I think it would be. I mean, and if I taught my child anything, good cursing is probably something I would teach them.
Yeah. So my kid has learned, and this is the important part. These are the words that some people find very offensive. And honestly, what I always say is people who use those words tend to be looked down upon by other people. So choose your audience wisely. And don't say it around your parents or any of your parents' friends, because then your parents end up getting the red slips. So Because that was, of course, that's my biggest problem.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at your story, guy. I'm
No,
laughing
you're
at
laughing
the
at
comment
Ruxpin.
because Teddy Ruxpin. I'm sorry. I heard him say squirrel. Yes, I will agree. Especially when his batteries are dying. So so my family started curbing my cursing habit. I want to say with soap first, and this
Yeah.
is because I was no longer in the care of my parents at the time when this was going on. So they didn't enjoy the fact that I was cursing in front of my cousins who are younger than me. So that wasn't fun for them to see or hear. So I got soap. Now, I didn't get the onions, and I didn't always get spankings, depending on which family member. But I got this laborious task if I got in trouble or if I said the wrong thing, where I had to go weed plants out of tiny beds of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
I pay my kid to do that.
I mean, well, yeah, but if I got in trouble, I had to do it.
Right. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way not to like incentivize it and make it like. But now I don't like doing yard work.
Right. That's generally why we didn't do that. We came up with there. I mean, I borrowed some of the things from my buddy, but I mean, like, we'll get my kid to go and clean the grout in the bathroom with a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Because really, when you're an adult, you don't use a toothbrush to clean the grout. You use whatever that is soap bubble thing where you just spray it on there and wait 2 hours and come back in and wipe it off. Right. So that's not going to make him do what you're doing, which is I don't want to garden anymore because nobody wants to clean their bathroom, but everybody does because nobody wants to. So, hey, if it makes him not want to clean the bathroom when he's an adult, it's not going to be any worse than normal. I don't like to clean the bathroom. You know,
Well, I mean, also at the same time, like Bill loves doing yard work at times. Like he loves playing in a garden situation. It makes him very um, zen at
mhm.
times.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
So, like, why am I going to ruin my
Not
husband's
alone. There are like literally millions of Japanese who are totally right there with him. That's why they have gardens.
my second shot of vodka? Guy has mentioned Japan twice now.
Yep.
Actually, no, three
You
times.
started it the first time though.
Yes, I started the first time, but two times on your own. I
Wow.
did not prompt that.
Well, while I'm at it, let me mention Japan. Let's see how drunk I can make Pepper. Japan.
Oh no! What one day you need to have like one of your friends from Japan on the show,
Right?
and you need to let everyone know, hey, I'm doing the drinking game
For the
where
drinking.
I mention Japan, and every single time it's mentioned, by the end of the show, everyone would basically be like, never do a show like this again. I'm dead. I poke fun with love.
I know. I know. I'm not offended. I'm just working. That's all. I should break this up, shouldn't I? Ah. Okay, fine.
That actually sounds interesting. I don't know if I could actually meditate while peeling potatoes out of the fear of cutting myself, Donald.
Yeah, but he's Navy.
Well, Navy or not, like I still feel like I
I'm
don't
just
think I could
saying.
do that without cutting myself.
This is a thing. Peeling potatoes is an old, tried and true tradition.
Oh no, I'm very much aware of that. Like my sister was in the Navy. Um, my I had one uncle who who drew the plans for nuclear subs. So he had to accommodate kitchens. So I know they exist on subs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know the old trope is like the navies live on like basically on potatoes and stuff, but like
Oh, I don't
my
think it's that bad
sister even
anymore, but it's funny.
said that. I guess. Huh?
I don't think it's that bad anymore, but that's a thing.
Huh.
So
It's gluten free.
right, okay.
Anyways,
So
sorry if that was a very bad
here,
accent. Sorry, did not mean any harm.
huh?
No.
The
Hold
trick
on.
I just did here was to I wanted to make holes in the ring that matches the bird, so
Oh,
that the
okay,
bird
cool.
isn't touching the ring.
Ah,
So
gotcha. Hold on, I heard something out
that's when everybody gets murdered live on screen. I can totally tell. Because really, I think I like this better. And so I'll save this. What do you mean? Oh.
We'll just have a dishwasher. Sorry, folks. I get a new toy to play with. They're installing a dishwasher right now.
Yeah, well, while you walked away, I heard a thump downstairs too. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Are we getting invaded? You and me?
Is it War of the Worlds?
Again? That
Okay.
never worked the last time. I'm just saying.
It always comes down to the fact that they don't take into consideration the whole humans have different diseases. Messages from Bill.
Yay! But Bill has to come from a long way away now. Look at that. You had to walk from 3 miles away now. Uh, so
Did not know that, Donald. It's kind of fun. Didn't realize Blue Jays went after hummingbirds, though. Hmm. Um, One really funny story about um hummingbirds that I actually do have is when I was living in Colorado Springs. Oh, cool, Donald. Um, I actually had I had this thing where I would go on meditative walks
as opposed to
in.
medicated walks, which are a different thing altogether.
Oh no, those are fun. Self-medicated walks are fun.
Walks.
Um, um,
It
so
happens
I went
to
on
me, man.
yeah.
When you're dead, man.
I went on this this meditative walk thing, like this spiritual hike thing that I was like, no, I was not on drugs. Um, and I found this spot, and I'm sitting there and just hanging out, kind of de-stressing. It was as best as I could be when you live in the Springs, when you live in Colorado Springs. Um, and I hear this this really just flapping, soft humming, something, whatever.
Birdie.
It was literally a hummingbird flying around me.
Orbiting you.
Yeah, staring at me and just going around me and followed me. Because you don't really know what the hummingbird's gonna do. Is he going to try to get honey or nectar out of my ear?
Yes.
You know, like,
Could be
and
bad.
then, but here's the deal: it turned from that into like, how horrible in a horror movie would it be if a hummingbird was the villain? You know, like, they're small but mighty. They do fly sometimes in groups.
Like a bumblebee.
Yeah, like, and like, think about it. Like, in their hummingbirds, and what if they became ravenous for human brains?
Brains.
But in all reality, though, I didn't think that at the time. Like, I was just like, "Oh, okay,
Think about
that's
that now.
super weird." And then someone I knew, I like told them what had happened, and then they asked me like, "Around what time was this?" And I told them the time in my time zone, and they were like, "Because we had a hummingbird around that same time fly into our house." And I was like, "That's kind of cool and weird that it syncs like that, but okay, cool."
Right?
Um, but yeah, that's like my one weird story with Hummingbird, man. That would be awesome. What if it was a story called Hummingbird Man?
Okay, I gotta go get my phone. I'll be right back.
Zombie hummingbirds that suck the brains through the ear canals. Yes, yes. Oh God, yes. I need to write this stuff down, man. Ugh. Be like the hummingbird moth too. Like, could actually be like something that could help. I guess I don't know. If anyone's seen the hummingbird moth, it like legitimately does like the same thing that a hummingbird does, but it's a moth. It's like super weird looking, but like the thing like rolls out like whoosh, it like to like a straight thing. It's super. So anyway, um, so what I have actually done in the time that I've been talking on and off is working on writing. Um, so anyways, and coming up with random stuff because I haven't talked to Guy in a while. Clearly, I can't stay on topic. So,
Having morning problems, I guess.
Guy's coming back. I think I heard him.
That's why I can't find my phone. It's still on the charger. Like, where's my phone? I totally walked away. All right. So I'm making, this is what we call a business identity. I'm giving all of the color codes here for her card so that and then we'll use this blue for her phone number. If you guys are interested in an integrated wellness life coach, wrong number. Be really funny. Stupid, but funny. Okay. So I'm trying to place all of these things within line of each other. And so make that larger, make this larger, and bring it down to the halfway point between these two. which is kind of what Photoshop wants me to do too. So now this guy needs to be sort of halfway between the two like that. Otherwise it looks bad, right? Because if I look at it there, now everything looks nice and aligned. The biggest problem is it's bottom heavy, but if I go too far up, then her name gets caught up in there. So where it is right on the line, on the midline of this. And so we hold and let it go there. And then I will save this. And then we will save a copy. And we'll say front. And we will say back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Save a copy. We have to remember to save a stupid copy. It makes me bitter. And this is another one of those, looking at this though, I feel like this might be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then have this justified to the right over here, which might be a better choice. Right? Then that gives us sort of everything justified to the right a little bit over there. It looks a lot cleaner and it matches the front. So we'll save a copy again. I have to say this out loud because otherwise I will forget that they have fixed this within Photoshop. So there's that. Now we will do one last thing. She didn't pay for a full business identity, so 008 DBF. And so,
She didn't pay for a full business identity. What do you mean?
So hang on. Meaning that she only paid for logo and business cards. So I'm giving her colors as a extra there on that.
Gotcha.
Normally I would F89843. So as part of a business identity, she's going to do a website somewhere along the line. When she does, she wants to match her site to her business colors of her business card.
That's what one of my friends said, Donald.
The guy special.
Yeah, it has a happy ending.
We're just saying, boy, this is really like the weirdest show ever, isn't it?
Sorry. I haven't done a show in a while.
I guess.
Normally we stay on topic at least part of the show.
FFCD03. The dog. We have this one dog, and they just can't deal with being left outside. So they spend literally the entire day whimpering and crying every day. And it has not stopped. And it's just been, the dog never gives up and just constantly whines and whines all day. And it is so. I wouldn't think that happy endings are dark.
Oh, it depends on the happy ending. We did talk about zombie hummingbirds today.
It's a happy ending.
Yes, having your brain sucked out through your ear canal by a hummingbird is a happy ending.
I guess it depends on your brain. There are a number of people who I think would probably be served better that way.
Hmm. I can see it.
That's dark.
Is it really though?
Is it? Is
Is
it
it
really?
really? So,
Okay.
so one thing that we still need to do is have Guy come up to our house.
Yes.
Um, well, and I also know that you wanted Bill's help on something, right, Guy? You still need that?
Plausibly, I could bring my case up there and more memory, and that might
Okay.
be a bad idea.
Uh,
Um,
if you do it this weekend, the payment would be you have to help us paint our ceilings.
I see.
See, I can do jokes too. No, I'm just joking. I
Sure.
do have apple beer already up here, so
It's all good. But 11/6, I definitely will be up there with you. I don't know whether this weekend I'll be up there with you, but on 11/6 I'll be with you.
11/6 you'll be with me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're available, obviously.
Oh yeah, that's right. Your monthly Fort
Yeah, I'm
Collins,
up
right?
in Fort Collins, so might as well. I mean, unless it's snowing. If it's snowing, no. I don't even have I don't have the tolerance for it.
Well, I mean, Donald, you're welcome to come supervise if you want. We have a guest
That'd
room.
be super.
We have a guest room. We do. Has a queen bed in it.
Queen.
I still need to get a day bed for another room that we are calling the nursery because that's where the nursery's gonna go.
The hell.
Um, and I figured having a day bed in there would be very nice. We are in Loveland, Colorado. Donald, to answer that question. So, but I will say, since moving here, I have gotten my PO box done, fixed. So now I have a PO box. So no one will get my actual physical address unless I give it to them personally. Um, and yeah, there's that. My life has been very boring. I'm sorry.
All righty.
Ooh, okay, cool. Yep, we're still exploring Loveland. We've already gone to the Stanley Hotel, as I said earlier in the show. So that's in Estes Park, which is like not that far from us now. Well, Guy, do you want the show back?
No, right now I'm emailing June and giving her her logo.
Ah, okay. Do you give it to them in vector format or in
Yep.
JPEG?
It's JPEGs because that's what usually for this. That's what I do. If they ask for it in vector, I'll convert it over to vector. But I usually work almost exclusively in raster because I can get a much more fluid feel. When I deal with vector, I always end up with very pretty, very straight lines, but it doesn't feel organic to me. It feels very. And so if they want it in vector, what I will do is start here with this and then convert to vector in Illustrator. And then that would give me this outline because it's extremely straight up. There's no, this isn't a very complicated, but it would give me a vector line that looks exactly like this. So then I'd still be able to go in there, because I don't know if you were watching closely when I made this logo, but I sat there and like trimmed a little on the wing and then did a little bit more on the chest. And, I need a little bit more. That phase of my creation mode is very disrupted by vector. I just do the vector lines and then stare at it and go, I don't know. Something's wrong with it. I have no idea. So
Yeah.
so if you need vector, I do it like this, then convert it to vector, which is just one little extra step. Because Illustrator is really good at taking high resolution graphics like this and just popping it over to vector.
I
No,
mean, I kind of wish that was the case when I was learning Illustrator when I was in college
Yep.
almost 20 years ago. But
Yeah, I don't.
uh,
I actually really, really hate Illustrator. So it's like I don't. It's counterintuitive. It's never been comfortable, and there are some people out there who do. Oh, see you later, Donald. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow. There are people out there who do phenomenal pieces of work in Illustrator, just insanely beautiful things. And it's one of those, it's magic to me. It is totally magic to me. I don't even know. But that's okay. I do good work here. I feel like this is just fine. So I don't have an issue.
well, I mean, I think what it is like with Illustrator, I actually used to use Illustrator almost exclusively for a lot of my art,
Right?
and so I could I could get organic looking vector lines.
Sure.
The problem is for a lot of people is even though it looks so crisp and clean, for some people it's if it looks too perfect, it doesn't look right. I know that's a really weird thing to say, but if someone in Raf kind of posted a meme earlier, like yesterday or this morning sometime, and it kind of makes sense. Someone who's willing to pay you only $50 for your work will give you a long list of things that they
Yeah.
want changed, and someone who's willing to pay you 100 times more
It's
for the
like,
same work will
yep,
go,
good job, guys.
thank you.
Week number 4. I've totally done that. That is so weird. Because I've been there where I'm like, this person's paying me a lot of money to do this job. And so I better, do like 12 different ones or whatever. And I'll draw 3 of them. And I'm like, I've got another 6 that I'll do. And they're like, nah, number 2 is good.
Yeah,
Call it a night. Good job.
right.
Here's your check. And I'm like, I wish more of my people were like you. Because like I'll do one for $50 and it'll take me 6 weeks of haggling and fighting. And what I do is I try to look at it from hourly. Like if I charge $50, I try to not work more than 2 hours on the task, because I feel like I'm worth $25 an hour. I'm a professional. I'm in the field, stuff like that. $25 an hour is a perfectly fair rate. So if the task takes more than 2 hours, then we did it wrong. You know.
Yeah.
Actually, I've had now a couple of people approach me on Facebook and say, "Can you do this job? What's your rate?" And I'll say, $25 an hour," and then they just disappear. And I'm like, "Okay, what did you expect me to say? $5 an hour?" I mean,
Well, it's kind of like I raised my prices on someone who was giving me regular work every so often,
yeah,
and I basically was like, "Hey, I'm working with this company that one task is this much. I'm sorry, I'm not like I need to raise my prices to either match this or go above to
yep,
take on work." And they were like, "Well, that's too That's too much money for me. And
That's
I'm like,
yeah,
well,
you're
I'm
too rich.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, and it's getting to the point now where my photography is starting to pick up, and I'm actually getting a number of photography jobs. And I charge generally between 100 and 150 for an hour's worth of work. That pays really well.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be wanting me to do, like, say here in this example, business cards, I can rattle out business cards. Clearly, you and I were sitting here making jokes about sex, and I was still rattling them out. And we're still done in an hour and a half and sent to the client for approval.
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't even an hour and a half because we started 30 minutes late because we had to watch William Shatner go into space. So, so to be fair, that took an hour to do the logo and a mock-up. I did we did do my sketchbook. I've got the sketchbook. I sat down with her. So you got to kind of count. I drove out to South Denver in rush hour, so we got to count that. And bought coffee at Starbucks, so we got to count that. But the truth of the matter is, charging $100 for that would be pretty nominal. But it's still $100, and you count all the hours in. It's 1 hour to do the thing, plus an hour for the meeting, plus the coffee. Which is already $50 because Starbucks. Um, you add all that together, and I'm working at a lower rate than I am for photography. So my thought is, if people think I'm too rich for them for graphic design, that's okay. I'll go do photography. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt me. I'll just go do.
Yeah. I get it too. I get
Yeah.
it. Like I'm working with some people right now, which are like literally telling me on a regular basis, like, you should not be doing things for $100. You should not be doing things for $250 for commission works. You should be charging this amount of money. Especially when people get very demanding about what they want from you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Generally, my rule is I charge $100 until you become a pain in the butt. Then my rates go up.
and I'm kind of right there with you. I've literally told some people who've come back and they're like, "Oh, your price is very reasonable." I'm like, "Why? What's the price that you've gotten last time?" And they said it, and I know the person that they're talking about.
Yep.
And I looked at her and I was like, "I don't think he wanted the job." Like, I like legit said that. Like I don't think I was supposed to say that, but I don't think this person wanted the job.
Well, that's the way we do it, is we
Yeah,
price them out. Because I mean, the truth is, if you're going to pay me $1,000 to do it, yeah, I'll do whatever.
yeah,
I mean, sure, that's fine until we hit, you know, whatever, 10 hours on the job or whatever. Then it starts to become, above that. Then it starts to eclipse what I make when I go out and do a photo shoot. So
yeah,
you kind of have to kind of think that through.
yeah. I think though that like pricing people out or pricing in a manner of, if you've been warned by other artists
Yeah. Well,
about
that's the
who
thing.
this person is, and if other artists are talking about you as a client, that means the artists aren't the issue at
Mhm.
this point.
Yep.
That means that you become the issue. Um, and there have been times where like I legitimately have to stop working with people because I like them as people, but as people to work for or work with,
Yeah.
client wise, not the greatest relationship. It's not always the healthiest.
We're doing work here. I mean, we're business people.
Yeah,
And I sometimes it's like, you don't want to work for these people because they don't respect you as a business person.
right.
And that's a problem. I mean, it's an issue. I mean, it's That's a thing.
It is.
We're business
It
people.
is.
We got to make money somewhere, somehow. And yeah, I don't expect to ever be Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. I have no thought, and but I'd be happy as a clam if I just didn't make my wife stressed out because I'm the one that's limping along, not bringing in any money. You know what I mean?
No, trust me, it's one of those things of Bill brings it up a lot. He's
Mm,
like, "Oh, so can you get enough money coming in for like another round of helping out with upgrades to the house?"
right.
And like it's almost like, "Do you got more work? Do you need it?
Yeah.
You need more work."
Right. But I mean, and it's the thing. Like my wife brings in just enough money for us to make all the bills. So anything I make is going to Barnes and Noble and buying books, and
It's for
that
all the
emergency
amenities that
tire
you
replacement,
yeah,
and that's what my money does.
yeah, like the last some of the stuff that I've done with like the larger payouts that I've gotten from the company that I work for, that I work for more regularly, um, was legitimately I paid money to have someone come out and take down all the popcorn because I was getting it just was not going as fast as we needed it to, and Bill wanted it wanted the popcorn done before we moved in, and
Yep.
I was like, we're gonna have to pay someone to do this. Um,
And sometimes that's just the way it goes. Anything that would be, I mean, if we were coming in to take out the popcorn and paint my ceilings, yeah, I'd have to hire somebody because I know that I'd just end up with muscle spasms the entire time. Having my hands like this the entire time, there's no way. I just end up with cramps and stuff like that. So I'd be like, well, that's it.
well, we had that issue too, but I will say the main problem was it's when you knock down popcorn ceiling and you have heavy amounts of paint on top of the popcorn ceiling. You have to scrape first, spray, wait a second, scrape again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of steps involved to get some very thick stuff down.
Fair.
And then also on top of that, if you get too much down, you now have to go back and patch it.
Right. Because you tore through it. You
Yeah,
start tearing through the drywall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all good.
You going to be with me this Friday?
Most likely because everything is set up.
Everything is set up. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go into PG 17 next show.
It's
I
all
mean,
good.
I tried not to this one, but I have a dirty mind.
It is totally cool. As always, it is totally fine.
So,
Well, I did a thing, so I'm pretty happy with that. And now I'm going to have to call Earth Towel and kind of get them back on the same page because we're not on the same page. So that's going to be an
I'll let
interesting
you
phone call.
handle that.
So then I have to go get my niece from school at 1:30. So I've got kind of a busy day. It's kind of scattered, but still kind of busy. So there's that.
Well,
Okay, well, cool. We did get
everyone,
we did get to watch William Shatner go to space. That was nifty. Captain
well,
really went into
you
space.
should have stayed there a bit longer.
Yeah, I that was what my wife was saying because she was still here, and what I said was, at 90 years old, he's getting to the point where he can't choose really. He can't wait another 10 years for SpaceX to get down to a price or get down to a position where they can put him in orbit for a day or two, because then he'll be 100 and, there will be, I mean, he may still be here at 100, but I doubt it.
I
I
mean,
doubt at 100 he'd be able to go up into space and stay there and and stuff. So
well, hell, I mean, I didn't realize that Joan Cusack was 59.
right,
So my age thing, like as I've gotten older, my age ranging of guessing what age people are has gone way off.
right, right, and that's the thing, and it's like, well, they were all are. I mean, you think about it; these are all actors who were working in the '60s before we were even alive. So at least with Star Trek
Well, I mean, with
original series,
like you would think, but like I still don't picture these people in their 80s or 90s. Like I just
I
don't.
mean, Patrick Stewart's in his 80s, and he's still playing Picard.
I know, which is like,
Cool. And a lot of people got kind of grumpy about him playing old man Picard, but the truth is, I liked old man Picard. It's cool.
well, the only person that can play young man Picard doesn't look like Patrick Stewart anymore.
Right,
He's bulked up too much.
right. But the point that I'm kind of getting at is people were doing but I wanted, it's here's Captain Picard who's this awesome badass and he's hobbling around. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that. As I approach 50 and now have to go to a freaking chiropractor to have her just get me to the point where I can walk upstairs normally. You know what I mean? It's
I
like
know exactly what you
my
mean.
body is starting to fall apart and shamble here. I mean, it's what we all do. And it's nice
Right.
to see that even Jean-Luc Picard has to, get behind and cover whenever the Romulans start shooting because he's not going to go up there and jump kick them. He's not an idiot.
Well, and I mean, I'll be realistic. Next Generation, when he was on that show, he was, well, A, much younger, but B, he didn't really do a whole lot of fighting then, too, unless he had to.
Well, no, because I mean, he was my age.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally at 50, I'm coming up on 50. I'm not 50 yet, but I will be. At 50, I will be fourth season Picard, fourth season Star Trek. So where he was in fourth season,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that was one thing that Will Wheaton was observing because Will Wheaton and I are 2 days apart in age. And so Will Wheaton's like, dude, I am where Picard was in fourth season. And so I realized, crap, that's where I am too. I'm also hanging out where Picard was in fourth season. And you're right. Patrick Stewart wasn't jump kicking people there. He left that to Riker.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the guy that played, I always forget Riker's real name, but
Thanks.
thank you. I just want to point out he was like what 10 years or something like that younger than him on the original show.
Oh yeah. He was a much younger man.
Yeah, he was. It was 10 or more. I mean, and I mean most of the cast was younger than Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the cast.
Patrick
Um,
Stewart is, I believe, the same age as my mom as far as age goes. It seems like. I know that Harrison Ford and my mom were like exactly the same age.
they're born on the same day.
Same day, yeah.
Hmm, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think for the most part, it's
Uh,
one of those things
so
that just happen.
Patrick Stewart is exactly 5 years older than my mom because they're born
Oh,
on
okay.
the same day, July 13th. But Patrick was born. Sir Pat was born in 1940, and my mom was born in 45. So, but Harrison Ford was also born on July 13th, 1945. So Han Solo and Captain Picard have the same birthday, but they're 5 years apart. Anyway,
Okay.
needless to say, he's 81 this year. So he's, no spring chicken either. He's only 9 years younger than Captain Kirk, or William Shatner.
Yeah, I'm already starting to get that whole. I'm much older than I realize,
Yep.
especially with the new house.
I don't know. We're losing the original series cast pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know where
Well,
I'm
we
going to be
we
when they're all gone. You know what
well
I mean?
we've left. It started with Gene Roddenberry.
Yep.
After Gene Roddenberry,
It was
no
D.
one really died, but until
Kelly who died in '99. So
yeah, and then I didn't.
then we
Scotty
lost
passed away.
Jimmy Doohan, and
Nichelle Nichols is still alive.
but she's not doing good.
She's not doing good.
Um,
We have George Takei.
yeah, and we've got Takei, and we've got he's got a long story about Takai. Takai means expensive in Japanese,
Yes, I know. He also thanks people for saying
right? He's like,
mispronouncing it.
yes, I am expensive.
Yes, that's why I will forever say Takai.
That makes sense as long as you understand it. And then Walter Koenig is still alive too, who played Chekhov. And of course, we've lost Leonard Nimoy, and we've lost Yeoman Rand,
Mm-hmm.
Gracie Lee Whitney. She passed as well. So and we've lost a lot of them. But what I'm also noticing,
Did you mention uh, Gene Roddenberry's wife, who also played what?
we lost Majel Barrett.
Yeah, because she's still the voice of the ships.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they haven't used her for Discovery and such, and I'm not sure why, but she was the voice of the computer for Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams Star Treks.
Well, I mean, she purposely she purposely had her voice recorded for the Star Trek series,
Yep.
just in case anything should happen to her. And Gene Roddenberry was the one that, like, she was originally supposed to be second in command on the original pilot, I believe.
Right.
And that was Ixnade.
That's the story. We can go into that some other time though, because it's 11:04. So
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go see if my new toy is hooked up.
right.
Yes. So
Yeah. See, my lights have already changed. So it's time for me to go. Okay. Well, it was good having you on my show today. Thank you, Pepper. I'll see you Friday.
see you Friday. Maybe you'll catch me doing some art on Friday.
What? Us art?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay, it was good to see you, Ghost Hand. It was good to see you, Donald. And I know Brent's out there somewhere. I just, he's in the ether somewhere. Thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you. I will see you tomorrow. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye.
Bye.
Computer, good night.